Hello there and welcome back. In this video, I show you how I fix two of the most common types of wear that my socks get so you too can repair and enjoy your socks longer. Starting with saggy socks, I'm going to offer two methods. For this one, I'm going to need an elastic band, a safety pin, tiny but also relatively strong, and scissors. This method works if your socks are double hemmed. That means the cuff is folded. And the method is very simple. We are going to insert the elastic band into the cuff. To do so, I hook the elastic band with the safety pin, remembering that I'm going in this direction by grabbing the safety pin from this end. If you do this step like I'm showing, the elastic band will be less bulky and make less resistance. So I grab the cuff of the sock and I stretch it in order to make my way into it with the safety pin. And here I'm not gonna jump the safety pin into the cuff. I'm gonna feel it and insert it when I feel that the fibers are stretched enough to allow the safety pin in. When the safety pin is in, I never lose grip of it. I hold it very tight. And now I have to creep the safety pin together with the elastic to let the elastic pass through that little space that I just made. And so now I'll keep going, moving the safety pin through the cuff of the sock until I get to close the loop. When I get there, I reuse the same opening that I made to slide the elastic in. In this phase, it's especially important to hold the safety pin tight closed so that it will not open while we slide the elastic out of the opening. So when the other end of the elastic is also out, I can adjust the circumference of the elastic to make it as tight as we want, and I can conclude by making two knots. Then knipping the excess elastic band, and by pulling and stretching the cuff in the area where the opening is, I will also manage to let the knot inside the cuff. Now, a very logical question is, don't you feel the knot on the side of the ankle? Well, it depends. I wear these socks with sneakers or running shoes, therefore I don't. But if that is your concern, you can try this method, which by the way is my go-to way if the sock is not double hemmed. I'm going to demonstrate with the cuff of a sweater, but with a sock is exactly the same. I am going to need elastic thread, needle and scissors, and I thought that was it, but threading an elastic thread into a needle is pretty impossible. So you're also gonna need a needle threader. And if you have never used a threader before, this is a crash course. So insert the threader's loop into the eye of the needle, guide the end of the thread through the loop, double the thread over on itself, hold it and pull the threader out. This method is super simple. I simply thread the needle and then I do running stitches, only picking up the crests of the knit of the sock, or in this case, of the cuff. By the way, this is a great method to bring some life back, some elasticity back into your old sweaters. When I've gone through the whole circumference of the cuff of my sock, I unthread the needle, I adjust the tightness of my elastic, and I do a double knot. Cut the notches, and my sweater sock is tight again. And now I demonstrate a method to fix worn out socks. In my previous video I showed another great technique called darning to do this, which you can check after watching this video. But back to us. For this method we are gonna need pins, regular thread, needle, embroidery hoop, a fabric patch, and scissors. And if you don't have an embroidery hoop, no problem, you can make your own by repurposing a plastic container. You're only interested in the sealing part of the lid and the container, so you're going to cut that out, but be very, very careful here, because the cutter or the scissors, whatever you're using, can slip very easily and you can cut yourself. So don't cut yourself, please. And once that is done, you can really just use this as an embroidery hoop. But I do have an embroidery hoop, so I'm gonna use that. When I'm mounting it, I'm considering two things. First, that I don't wanna stretch the sock more than when I'm wearing it. And second, I need to consider the position and the direction I want to put the patch on. I don't want to feel the edge of the patch under my heel, so I need to make sure that that is large enough. When I'm sure of where to positioning my patch, I go ahead and pin it using pins in perpendicular directions so that the patch will not slide. Now I double thread the needle. That means I'm gonna make a knot with the two ends of the thread. And if you find it challenging to thread the needle, remember there is a crash course in using the needle threader in this video. To apply the patch, there is a variety of stitches that I can use. I decided to use whip stitches because I believe they are very simple. So starting from the bottom, I poke the two layers, so the sock and the patch, and I let the needle emerge from the top, and I circle it outside of the patch close to the first stitch. And then from there, I poke the needle through the sock, I angle it a little bit, and I go again through the sock and the patch. And I keep going like this along the whole shape of the patch. When you are at your last stitch, I tie one knot, and I do this by leaving a little loop of thread outside of the stitch and threading the needle through that loop, and then pulling. I cut the notch and I'm done. I mean, I could be done, but I decided to add this completely unnecessary but very pineapple-y detail. You can totally skip this part, and this is my result. I hope this video was useful for you, and if you enjoyed it, you know what to do. To the next time.